Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really trying to cut through some of the noise, the marketing around anti-aging, beauty from within stuff. Our plan is to look at the actual clinical science, the hard data for ingestible ingredients, and then stack that up against how these products are actually regulated in the U.S. It's quite a contrast. Okay, so let's start with the basics. The cellular level.
Right. And what's really interesting here, it isn't just about cosmetics, like covering things up.
Yeah.
The science is looking at cellular energy.
Yeah.
Specifically, a molecule called NAD plus ADO, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. It's absolutely fundamental for how our cells produce energy.
And why we care, I guess, is that as we get older, these NAD plus levels, they just naturally drop. Drop. That's what links directly to things we see, like wrinkles, skin losing its firmness.
Exactly. That's the connection. So you see these comprehensive strategies emerging, often from top dermatologists, scientists, some linked to Harvard, MIT. They're focusing on these proprietary NAD plus complexes. And it's a whole system approach, combining the stuff you put on your skin, lotions, creams, maybe retinol, so with supplements you take internally. The idea is they work together synergistically with the skin's natural rhythms, boosting NAD plus from the inside.
Okay, so if the approach is systemic, then the big question has to be, what's the actual proof? For the stuff you ingest, this is where we move past the vague claims, I think.
This is really the moment for this deep dive.
Yeah.
The level of precision in some of these trials is almost pharmaceutical grade. Okay, take hyaluronins, orally, 200 milligrams a day.
Yeah.
There was a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled study, proper stuff. And after just 28 days, they found specifically a 10.6% improvement in skin hydration. And get this, an 18.8% decrease in wrinkle depth.
Hold on. 18.8% fewer wrinkles in under a month. That is incredibly specific. Wow. Does that kind of precision apply to like structural things too, skin quality, hair?
It seems to, yeah. Looking at fish hydrolyzed collagen peptides, another study, over 12 weeks, subjects saw a 19% increase in skin suppleness and a 13% increase in the mechanical strength of their hair, like the actual force it takes to break a strand. It really points towards that systemic effect being real.
It really does, and it makes the contrast with, say, topical treatments quite stark, doesn't it? Our sources mention Biotin shampoos specifically, saying there are no clinical trials showing they regrow hair because, well, you just wash the biotin away, right? It highlights that for some of these benefits, you really need to get the ingredient inside the body.
Exactly. And now we have to connect this really quite rigorous science, these specific numbers, to the legal framework they exist within. In the U.S., that's DSHEA, the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of 1994.
DSHEA, right. And that's where the kind of paradox comes in, isn't it? Because DSHEA classifies supplements as food, not drugs. Which means, crucially, manufacturers don't need FDA approval before they sell them. Not for safety, not for whether they actually work. The burden of proof is reversed. The FDA has to prove something is unsafe later on, after it's already out there, to get it banned.
Which leads to a really critical point about what you see on the label. Transparency. Sort of. Because of these rules, if a product makes a claim about affecting the body's structure or function, like supports joint health or maybe boosts collagen, they have to include a disclaimer. It's required by law.
That famous disclaimer, people sometimes call it the quack Miranda warning, the one that says, this statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always there.
So wrapping up this dive, we're left looking at these two things right next to each other. On one hand, you have these super specific data-backed claims, university research stuff, like that 18.8% reduction in wrinkle depth. Very precise. And right alongside it, that legally mandated disclaimer saying the FDA hasn't actually evaluated that exact claim.
It creates quite the tension, doesn't it? For you, the consumer, trying to figure this out. We've laid out the clinical data, some pretty impressive numbers, and we've shown the specific law, DSHEA, that lets these products onto the market without that drug-style pre-approval. So here's the thought to leave you with. Knowing that the FDA has officially not evaluated the scientific statement on the bottle, how does that change how you weigh the scientific backing when you're deciding whether to try a supplement? That's something to consider on your next deep dive.